Hi, this is Susie. I'm the owner of the Speckled Loon. It's a handmade business that brings you inspired decor for your home, cabin, and so much more. The Speckled Loon has been around for a few years, but we are new to YouTube, and we're so excited to share about our products and what we're all about with our customers and followers. If you like our video today, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to our channel. It's a free way that you can help us grow and get YouTube to notice us just a bit more. I'm so excited about today's video. We are introducing the first in a collection of our DIY kits. The first release is our Summer DIY Tiered Tray Decor Kit. In this video, you will learn what's included in your kit and how to make it all. With that, let's get started. The kit. Here's everything that's included in your kit when you order it. It comes bagged up and each part is separate. Here's just a little bag of extras. This is the sunflower tag kit. That is your Bloom and Grow banner. The gnome kit, the Rise and Shine kit, and the fresh sunflowers kit. We're going to unbox everything, make sure we have it. You'll have the words and the 3 flowers that have 3 parts each to them, and the base grid. Next is the Rise and Shine set. Comes with a little stand, circle base, the sunflower, and then the Rise and Shine words are very delicate, so be careful with them. Next is the sunflower tag. It comes with a base, the sunflower, the middle, and some twine. It has a hole drilled. Then we have our gnome. It's the base, the hat, the nose, the beard, his body, and his feet. He goes together like a little puzzle, and he's holding a sunflower. He also has a stand with a couple little pieces to have that glued to the back if you want him to stand up. Then it's our Bloom and Grow banner. It's got all the little tags and all the little letters, and the letters are etched into each tag so you can glue them on so they'll be straight, and they each have 2 holes in there for stringing twine. And that is everything that is included in your kit. If you're missing anything, our email is below. Just drop us an email and we'll get it to you. Unmasking. This is an important step. All your pieces are going to be covered in a paper masking tape. You don't want to paint over the masking tape because your paint could bubble and make the tape bubble and peel off. So you want to peel it off before painting. It's on there because when I cut with a laser, there's a slight char to the wood and I don't want that to bleed through on lighter colors. So you just get it going by scrunching it up with a fingernail or putting a piece of duct tape on there and pulling down, and it comes right off, and then you have a nice clean piece to paint on. And you're going to have to do everything in your kit like that. The only exception is on the gnome. There's 2 parts where you're going to leave covered up. There's the middle of the sunflower we'll take off, but we're going to leave the little mittens covered up, and I'm going to zoom in and show you how to do that close up here in just a second. And then on the gnome himself, on the base, the only thing we're painting on there is the hat. So you're just going to get that going and pull the hat off. And the nose, everything else we're going to leave. And just the hat. And everything else is scored, so it's very easy to remove that. And again, we have to unmask. You don't want to paint over tape. It won't hold the paint well. But here's a close-up of me just pulling that off the middle of the sunflower. And hopefully you can see where we leave the little mittens on there. They're covered up. So then you don't even have to paint where the mittens go. They're just going to be the bare wood. But there's that one. And then you want to do everything in your kit and unmask it all. Getting organized. In order to begin, we need to get organized. I like to organize everything by color. So first I'm going to pick everything that I'm going to paint in the yellow tones. Put them all on a plate, get them together, and it just makes it easier when you're painting. Everything's in one color. So there I'm using the Waverly in Maize, and I've got some other shades of yellow we're going to be doing too, and mixing some orange in as well. That's Waverly as well, and you can get that right at Walmart. If your Walmart doesn't have that brand, they have another brand called Hobby House, which is very similar. in price and in quality. So the next ones we're going to do is everything that I want to paint brown. So the tops of the sunflowers, gnome hat, things like that. And it's called Waverly Antique Wax is the brown that I'm going to be using. Again, available at Walmart. But you can use whatever brand you have on hand. Next, everything that I am going to paint black. Basically, it's just the feet and that grid. Again, Waverly in the color of ink. But any black paint you have will do. Chalk paint covers better, but if you have the cheap 50-cent bottles, that's fine too. These are all the things I'm going to paint white. And for that, I'll be using Waverly White as well. Who's excited? It is time to paint. This is my favorite part. Since we're starting out, we had the white ones right in front of us. There's our Waverly White. That is what we are going to use first with those items right there. The little stand we are not going to paint. Just getting all my paints organized. There we are with our yellows, and this is another yellow I'm adding in. It's just a 50-cent apple barrel color called King's Gold, I believe, and it's a good sunflower yellow. I figured it would be a good mix. Just using foam brushes. Any 25-cent foam brush will do. And then for the small delicate areas, I like to use these little foam makeup wedges. You can cut them in half and make them smaller. Once they dry up, you can cut the dry end off and reuse them. So they're very economical. So there we go, our Waverly White. Also have a white marker, paint marker. If you have anything like that for the small areas, like that Rise and Shine text, that will work as well. But for the most part here, I'm going to just be using our foam brush. I dab in a little, dab it off so it's kind of dry. You do not want to get the edges. The edges are black and stay black, and they just work better that way. For the small items, I just tape some tape upside down on a paper plate and dab on with a sponge dauber. I'm doing that for the little letters, the fresh sunflowers, that type of thing, and the gnome's nose. And that works out great. Also for the Rise and Shine, the sponge daubers or the sponge wedge is the best thing to use. There's little sponge daubers you can get too. Those would work just fine, but I had the little makeup wedges on hand, so that's what I'm using. And I'm just wrapping my white brush in some saran wrap, so if I need to use it again, it's ready. Next is the black. Waverly ink, again at Walmart, but any black you have on hand will do. I like the chalk paint for the coverage. I use these little baby wipes for cleanup. I also have some Q-tips because inside that grid sometimes you can get a little collection. Do the little gnome's feet first. I'm not even using a brush for this. I'm using the dauber for the whole thing. And I have this sped up so we don't have to sit and watch me paint all day. But you're just seeing my technique. You may have a better technique. You could use spray paint if you wanted, but I like to, if it's not black, I like to keep the sides and insides black. It just looks better, but that's my personal preference. It's your project. You can make it however you want. Now that we have our black done, we're going to be doing the Waverly Brown Antique Wax. And I'm just shaking it up real good. The first thing we're going to do is that gnome's hat. Remember we unmasked everything there. Took everything off except for the body. And we're just putting that brown on because that's the only place it's going to get brown. And then we're going to do the sunflower topper. Because the base is yellow, this is going to serve as an outline for all the leaves. And so that's why we're doing it brown, because the middle of the sunflower is traditionally brown. Fun fact, I grew up on a farm where we grew sunflowers. They're always in bloom in early August, late July around here. And they're so pretty. And every time I see them, it just makes me smile. It's just a sea of yellow and green, and it's beautiful. Here I'm doing the little sunflower inside. I'm just checking the gnome there. I'm just taking off the parts we didn't need so you can see how that protected it. And I'm just doing these little centers on that double stick tape or the painter's tape taped upside down. Works out great for those little pieces. And then next we're just going to speed through that banner that Bloom and Grow banner. I'm going to have the base in this brown. And then I'm just wiping off the excess on these larger areas with a small baby wipe. And it just makes it have more of a stained look than an actual brown paint. But any brown paint would do, and if it's too dark for you, you can always water it down or mix it with a lighter brown. And that is everything we've got painted brown. All right, we are continuing to paint. Just remember that I wanted to do that part brown and not yellow, so I'm just quickly putting brown on it and putting it over with the brown. Now we're going to talk about yellow. We are going to mix our yellows. We've got maize, we've got our pumpkin, we've got curry, and then we're going to have that apple barrel paint again called King's Gold. The curry is another Waverly color. I just have it in a FIFO bottle for dispensing for some reason instead of the actual container. But anyway, I'm just getting things ready to mix. I'm putting a little maize down in a couple spots kind of as my base. It's a very light yellow, too light for us. So I'm mixing a little of that King's Gold in with a toothpick. I'm speeding this way up so we don't have to sit and watch me mix paint all day, but I like to mix paint, so it's kind of fun. There I'm mixing pumpkin in with a little of the maize. It's still pretty orange. I may add something a little bit later, I think, but for now it's good. I'm going to squirt next a little bit of that curry down. That's more of a mustardy yellow, I guess I would call it. And I'm going in with just the maize as a base coat. And while it's still wet, I'm going in with sponge daubers and I'm cutting them in half because I don't need them full size. And I'm just kind of going in the shape of leaves almost, in and out with the different colors. So I have some variation, and there's a close-up of what it looks like. Next, I'm doing the topper for that, more in the orange, but again, it's a little too orange for me. I take a little King's Gold, yellow it up a little bit more, and then just go over it very lightly and do that. And then I get a little bit too much in those points, so I just take a Q-tip or a toothpick and pick that out, and that cleans it right up. I just didn't want it to look globby. And so that one's done. Next up, I'm doing the gnome's hat. Again, doing a base of maize on that, looks like. And then I'm just daubing a little other, just to give it a little dirtier look, a little roughed up look. Being careful not to get too much in those little slats. If I did, I'd just pick it out with a toothpick. Next, I've got my little ones all lined up, base of maize, and doing some shading on that first one. That's for the gnome. The other ones, I'm doing the big base in the orangey yellow, and then I'm doing kind of the sunflower yellow on the toppers. And I'm not worrying about doing any variation on those because they're two different tones on the same flower already. So those are ready to roll, and they go pretty quick. And I may come in and touch some things up later, but for now I like how they all look. And now I'm doing the base for the Rise and Shine. Again, doing the base in the maize color. And see how it's almost too light and pastel-y. And then I'm getting the other colors all in it, because if you look at a sunflower, they have many shades of yellow and gold in the leaves. And I'm kind of looking at pictures of sunflowers while I'm doing this for inspiration and for some guidance. And then finally, I'm doing the little Bloom and Grow letters, and I'll do those in the sunflower yellow and just kind of dabbing those again with the sponge dauber, cut in half so it's super tiny. And that just works the best for those. And then we are done with all our yellow painting. Touch-ups. I don't know about you, but even on my best days, I'm a messy painter. So I have flub ups. I go through everything, make sure I've got good coverage, and make sure it doesn't need anything more. This has got a couple little spots in it where there's a real small crevice and there was a paint glob. I just used some dental floss to get it out. I'm sorry it's not on camera there, but basically I threw the dental floss in there and flossed it like I was flossing my teeth, basically, and got it right out and cleaned it up. Other times, I like the edges to stay black, and sometimes I get a little paint on the edges. So I just take black Sharpie when I'm all done, and I go look over all my projects and just go in and color over it with a black Sharpie. If you have a black paint pen, that's going to work just as fine too. So either one, just go ahead and open it up and draw it right on there. I'm just continuing to do that on this one. And then I'm looking on the big circle. There's a couple of them. I just go around and get all that and continue to check everything else. And then on this one, I want to distress it up a little bit. I'm not big on a lot of distressing, but here I'm just taking a chippy brush or a chip brush and kind of dry brushing a little white on over that. If I get the white on too heavy in areas, I'll go back over it with the black. But I just want to get a little more of a distressed look. It's so dark already on the sides that I just feel like it's going to give it a little more definition with just a little bit of white brushed over it. Super light, you won't even really be able to see it until I bring it up. Then I just take some 220 grit sandpaper and go around the edges and expose those a little bit to give them a little worn look. And that's about all the distressing I care to do on that. You'll see it more in the up close at the end on the finished product. But that's all I do with that. Next up, I want to distress on his beard a little bit. His nose is also white and I don't want them to blend together. So I'm just taking a little bit of black. I went a little heavy-handed with it there. So I just went over with the white again. And I'm doing this wet paint over wet paint to just kind of blend it in. The chippy brush kind of gives that appearance of hair. It's got a lot of fine little bristles that are very hard. They're not soft, and you get that brushed look, which is what I want for his beard to simulate hair. And that's about all I'm doing on the beard there, and that's the final product. I'm happy with it, and I'm going to leave it alone, or I'd fuss with it all day. And that's all the distressing we're going to do on that. So I still have everything organized by color. And next we're going to get everything all sorted out by project, and we're going to start our assembly. So to do that, I just took everything out and did a little dry fit on all my projects. Made sure everything looked good. On the gnome, I want to make sure he still goes together like a puzzle. Make sure that the paint didn't swell anything up, and make sure that it still fits. And it looks like it does. Just kind of getting him all together there. I'm going to put on his feet. You want to make sure the feet are the right way, and because they only go on one way. And then his little sunflower. And then I'm just going to make sure that tag gets all lined up and have its little button in the center on there. And then that's going to be ready to go. Then we're going to start gluing. So here's our different glue options. I like to put whatever I'm going to glue on a paper plate. We are not going to use wood glue. It's too wet, takes too long to set. I'm not going to use hot glue either because hot glue is too thick. We're going to try some super glues. The yellow are from the Dollar Tree. The orange, the Gorilla ones are from Menards. And the ones from the Dollar Tree I'm going to try first is the gel, because you've got 10 to 15 seconds to work with it before it sets up. I feel like that will give me enough time to make sure I'm all lined up on these things that are multi-layered, and I want to be precise, but I don't want to make a mistake. If I make a mistake, I can quickly pull it apart. So on this one, I'm just making sure I have it all lined up. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over, and I'm putting a little glue in the center, and then I'm going to put some kind of on the ends, not too much. If it oozes out, I can clean it up with a toothpick right away. Dries clear, and you do not see it. But I just want to get a good bond. And here I think I put it on, and it takes me a second to line it up right. So see, I'm glad I have that 10 seconds to work with, but I've got it all lined up, squaring it up, using these little grips, vice grips, while I do the middle, and just kind of hold it for 10 to 15 seconds, and then that one's good to go. Rise and shine, do a lot in the middle and a lot around the ends, and I want it to be straight, so I just line it up by holding it on its side and pressing the middle. And now we just need to get the lettering, so I'm getting that done, doing it on the wide areas. And then again, if I get some bleed through and oozing out, I just clean it up with a toothpick, but that looks good. Now we're going to do our Bloom and Grow banner. And those line right up. Remember, those are etched out, so you know right where to put your letter. So we're finishing up on the Bloom and Grow banner. Just going to glue right onto the tag. That seemed to work best, and then I line it up. And you can see how it's lined up nice. I'm giving it a good press to get it set. And you'll see the final one, and those are all done. So that's the end of the gluing for the banner. We'll just set that aside. We're going to start on the gnome. He goes together like a puzzle. Just a reminder, if you want to purchase this set, the link is down in the description box, along with all the links on where to find us on social media. We'd appreciate a follow if you are on Instagram or Facebook. That'd be great. Just clamping the hat on after getting it all aligned, making sure the nose is lined up good and in there right side up. Now the beard, and I'm just using those little score lines for my guide. Putting some right on the base, holding it good, still fitting together well. Doing the little brown suit. Next up are his little feet. I'm just putting them in one last time to make sure that they line up. And I've got them in the right way. And they're in there. Okay, next are his little sunflower that he holds. The base is yellow. And then you can just layer it up with the mitts and the one holding it. And that is it for his sunflower. He is together. It's adorable. We're going to put a little stand on his back, I believe. You lay that stand flat, and then you're going to put a little piece of wood on either side of it at the top and the bottom. I was having a hard time getting it to stay, but when you get your kit, it will be engineered, so it will be much easier to do. I just put on a little extra glue, and then I clamped it down with some painter's tape so it could hold it tight, and then it wasn't wobbly anymore, and it did end up holding just fine. Rest assured you'll get instructions and yours will work just fine. And then this is the fresh sunflower sign, and I'm just kind of checking my layout, see how I like it. I'm going to do the words first, and the fresh is kind of lined up in the upper left hand corner. Of course, you can put yours toward the bottom and the flowers on top, however you feel you want to do it. It's totally up to you. If you would do it different, just leave a comment down below and tell me how you would do it. But that's how it worked for me. I'm just doing it like the picture. I felt that looked best for my purposes and how I was going to decorate. Just layering on those flowers, the orange base, the sunflower yellow middle, and then the little brown button top for the center of the sunflower. And we repeat that, and to glue it on, that's what they look like. And on these ones, there are score lines to line it up, but on the last two, I did not use those. I just figured I'm going to let it be kind of kitty wampus and see how that looks. I kind of liked it, so I did that for the last two. Doesn't look a whole lot different, but it just gives it some variation. Flowers are never identical, so I like them to be a little different. And they're going together quite well. I love the little grids in the middle of those flowers. Ended up really liking how they turned out. And now I'm going to just glue them to the grid, kind of as I have them laid out. I'm putting that on there and just pressing them to the grid. Doing the ends first and then the center. Perfect. I like how it turned out. Okay, we are getting into the home stretch, and thank you so much for hanging with me. I tell you, it's getting to be a long video, isn't it? But anyway, I'm going to put a string through the flower and through the Bloom and Grow banner. I just put a little piece of duct tape at the end to make it easy to thread. The twine is kind of always frayed at the end. And then I'm just tying a little knot at the end, and that's what it looks like. Once it's got its little hanger on it, it can be an ornament, and you're going to see where I put it and decorate with it here in just a minute. I'm just snip that off, and I'm ready to roll. And then I'm taking the extra thread, making a little bow to put on the fresh sunflower sign. I'm torn if I like it or not. Leave a comment if you do something different. I'm not the best bow tire, so I go ahead and probably take it off later, but it's there for now. Now I'm just deciding if I want my twine to be in front through the holes or in back of the letter. I decide on in back, and I start backwards, threading it through. And it goes better after I trim it and get the first one through, and then it goes a lot better and quicker after that. There we go. Now we're moving. So thanks so much for hanging with us. This has been a fun project. I've always wanted to do these DIY kits. I used to do paint parties, and then since COVID, wasn't able to do those. So this is a way to give something to my customers to do on their own that's pretty easy, and they can be anywhere instead of having to be local to me to take a paint class. So that's kind of fun. So I just decide on if I like it in front or back. I have it in front on the R. I end up taking that off, doing it in the back. That's how I like it. And we'll come back in a minute and we will see the finished strung up one. So now to hang it, I just want to make some loops so I can hang it on my tiered tray. I might either hang it through some little hangers, or I might go ahead and just do tape it on the inside. But I'm just showing you, I just do a slip knot to make the loop, and then I just thread it through, and I do a square knot. And then I just tie it as tight as I can. And then you have a nice secure knot. And it's not heavy anyway, you just don't want the knot to come out. And then I'm just going to snip those extra ends, and then you have a little more twine. If you want to make a bow or do whatever on your project, you certainly can, or just toss it. All right, so let's just see how everything looks. I decide I'm not going to do the bow. I was going to super glue it on, and then I decide against it. But I just leave it on for now for the pictures, obviously. But we've got a rise and shine sign all done. Put on the stand. It's beautiful. Next we have our fresh sunflowers. I take the bow off. The little grid sign. Just love the design of that. That was bought by somebody that does Glowforge files on Etsy. I'll leave her link below. I love her shop. She also designed the gnome. That Rise and Shine is from Creative Fabrica, and it wasn't a bundle that I got, but I'll leave their link below, and you could search sunflowers and just find it. The Bloom and Grow banner I just designed myself. And I also designed everything in Sure Cuts a Lot, and then cut it on my Glowforge. I'll leave my Glowforge link, my Cricut link, my Sure Cuts a Lot link below. Okay, if you feel like you're done, you can stop here. That's great, but I have some bonus crafts for us. I don't like the plain back on this sign. It's going to be showing, and I don't care for it. So you can do this with any napkin or piece of tissue paper, and easily attach it to the back without Mod Podge. You get wrinkles with Mod Podge. This way you do not get wrinkles. I'm just taking a piece of saran wrap, and I just have this on a pressing surface. It's called a Steady Betty. It kind of grips things. It's got less give than the Cricut mats for the Easy Press, and I like it because it holds things tight. And so to get the napkin apart, you need to take the plies, and you just take a piece of painter's tape and put it on the front and one on the back, and you just do a pull. It takes off the first ply, and then you just take that piece of painter's tape again, put it on the back, and just pull slow. This is how slow I'm pulling it in real time. And it will not tear, it just pulls if you do it nice. And then you just want that one layer with the pattern. And you're just going to kind of lay it up there and make sure your whole circle is covered. So you're going to just have a bit of the sunflowers on there, but I feel it just gives it a little bit more of a high-end look. I'm taking a piece of foil to protect it and get it nice and hot, putting 10 seconds on my Easy Press 1 at 360 degrees. It's as high as it goes. Take it off. A little bit of it stuck to the foil. So what I'm doing here is there's a little flap that did not take. So I'm just going to take an extra piece of saran wrap and tuck it under there. Let's see where it did not stick. for whatever reason. I probably didn't have the saran wrap there, is probably why. I'm sure it's user error. So I'm going to take that, smooth it out. I'm going to take the easy press again for a few more seconds, making sure that I press hard in that area where I want it to go. A little saran wrap got on my easy press, but when it was cool, it came right off. Now here's the magic part. You do not need scissors. You just need a piece of fine grit sandpaper. I'm using 220 grit, sanding around, and look at that clean edge you're getting. It's amazing. I've seen this done by several different people. I think the first one I ever saw do it was Chalk It Up Fancy, and I've seen several others do it too. I'll leave her link below. She's a great creator. And you put it right there on the stand, and then from the back, it's just as pretty as the front. The next thing I'm doing is I'm just using the sunflower as a tag on a beaded garland I make. Now, YouTube is full of how to make beaded garlands, but basically I found a bunch of beads on Amazon. The big ones are 20 millimeters, the little ones are 16 millimeters. I painted some that sunflower yellow, all the rest were already white or already that dark stained that matched perfectly. Strung them on and made a tassel for each end. That's my beaded garland with the sunflower tag. Next is I want little extra things to put on my tiered trays. Made these little things that remind me kind of like corn silos from back on the farm, and I am going to fill them with something special. They were in the spring shop, regularly $3.99, but they were 66% off last time I was in Hobby Lobby. That was in late July. They might be marked down even more, and they're actually napkin rings. What I did was I took each one of these, and then there's this little watering can, and I took Sharpie and I traced around on a piece of paper. Scanned it into my Glowforge and had it cut on a piece of scrap wood for these. So I had a bottom that's just a scrap piece of plywood, but you could cut it out of cardboard or chipboard or whatever you want. If you have a Cricut, you could do it, or if you just have just scissors. And I'm going to fill these with actually sunflower seeds because I just thought they would look cute on my tray. And for this one, I'm going to use the Gorilla Glue Super Glue. And this is the gel also. I really like the Dollar Tree one. I'd recommend that for the price. It's about 3 times less than the Gorilla Glue, and it performed just the same. And you get 2 tubes for $1. So you have more than enough to finish a project with 1 tube. I had, most of it left over. But here I'm just giving it a good press. And these are just extra things. I always like to do extra for my crafts, take it to the next level, challenge myself from time to time, see something that I find on clearance and change it up. There wasn't much fall stuff out in the stores yet, a little bit of fall florals and things out at Hobby Lobby. The Dollar Tree had a few things, but I really don't, my Dollar Trees don't have a lot, so I end up getting a lot at the clearance at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and Joann's. My little extra things here and there. If my Dollar Tree had more, I'd buy more from there, but our Dollar Tree in my area anyway isn't one of those great crafting Dollar Trees like I see other people have. I'm a little jealous. So there you go. Then I just took 2 jelly jars also, canning jars for my jelly. Our rhubarb didn't really come in this year. It's super dry, so I have these left over. So I just put a lid and ring on them. And then these are just things I can use on my tray to elevate items, like my gnome or something if I want them to stand higher. But there you go, I fill everything up, and that's our bonus craft for that. How fun. I love doing extra things like this to take it to the next level, and I hope you enjoyed it. I stick a little sprig in there, and I'm going to call it good. What we're going to do now is just gather a few extra things. These are things I've made and I sell in my booth. The Be Kind Kleenex, quart jar Kleenex dispenser. This is a double-sided sign I sell at my craft fairs. And it is sunflower related, so I thought that would fit in well. This was just a little test cut I did on my Glowforge. I'm going to put that in as well. And then I've just got an assortment of things that I have gotten on clearance. These were on clearance in the spring area at Joann's, but I liked the yellow in them. I'm just going to cut a little bit of these off. That was in the fall florals that they just came in at Hobby Lobby. They were 40% off when I got them, as was the wheat. This is a scoop that I thought would be cute to prop up in the tray. That is from Hobby Lobby too, that gorgeous kind of rustic sunflower. And this little pick as well from Hobby Lobby. This was a pick from the Dollar Tree I'm going to cut apart. These were sunflowers from the Dollar Tree. Not as pretty, but good enough. Little picks I may use in the little seed jars. I haven't decided yet. And just other various things that I got. Now we're going to take a look at everything all together. And this is the final tiered tray. Again, thank you so much for watching this video, hanging into the end, bearing with me. I'm new to YouTube, so all this video editing, sound and lighting is new to me. This is my first video that's been longer than probably 2 minutes. So thanks so much. Again, I'm Susie from the Speckled Loon. If you would like to order this kit or anything from my website, I'll leave the link below. When you get to the website, sign up for my email list. You'll get a little bit of a discount coupon, 20% off your order. And we have free shipping if you order a lot. And I will try to keep this in stock for as long as I can. It is seasonal, so it'll be available through the fall probably, and then it will be gone for good. So if you'd like one, if it's out of stock, you can always email me and I can let you know when it'll be in stock. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day.